Hello there. Welcome to your program, Security Reports, where we get you informed, educated, enlightened, and most importantly, updated on security issues anywhere it is happening. I remain yours and only Ernest Enu Neku.
And I still remain Shirley Daniels.
On your program this week, we will be bringing you our trip to Plateau State, just precisely. We visited the 3 division of the Nigerian Army. There we were shown some of the landmark initiative of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukusu Buratai, especially on his Barrack Investment Initiative program, where a lot of beneficiaries are being trained on different things. We're taking to one of the centers where you have widows, you have orphans being trained on how to actually better their life and add their own quota to the GDP of the nation. Usually you are there with me.
Yes, Ernest. In fact, we at this point we have to say a very big thank you to the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukusu Buratai, for remembering these widows, these orphans, carrying them along and giving them something to fall back on. I believe after this training that they are going through, I want to believe that their lives are not going to be the same again. You could hear it from the lady who said that she wants to be an entrepreneur and also give back to the society what she was giving. We'll get to that report right away.
The Nigerian Army, under the leadership of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukusu Buratai, with a vision of having a professionally responsive Nigerian Army in the discharge of its constitutional role of protecting the territorial integrity and internal security of Nigeria and Nigerians, has taken the welfare of officers and soldiers as a major priority. Lieutenant General Buratai believes that to get the best of officers and soldiers and effect the right motivational technique that will energize the psychological well-being of personnel of the Nigerian Army, his leadership must show emotional concern to the general state of affairs of the people. In line with this ideology, Lieutenant General Buratai in 2017 introduced the Barrack Investment Initiative Program, BIIP, targeted at empowering the families of officers and soldiers that are serving, retired, or deceased. The Barrack Investment Initiative Program, BIIP, no doubt, goes a long way to show the importance the Nigerian Army places on the welfare of troops and their families by building their capacity, thereby making them independent and self-reliant. With the directive that the program should be replicated in all the Nigerian Army barracks and cantonments across the country, many families of soldiers and officers will soon begin to contribute their quota to the nation's gross domestic product, GDP. A visit to the 3 division of Nigerian Army in Jos Plateau State, the impact of this laudable initiative of the Chief of Army Staff could be seen as the crew was given a tour on one of the training programs aimed at empowering children and wives of serving and deceased soldiers.
This program is to last for 8 weeks. So this is our 3rd week here. We started last 2 weeks. The program is 30% theory and 70% practicals. So when we started the theory, we have a projector here. We run the slides to them to see from the safety aspect up to how they can operate the machines. When we are done with that, we started with the practicals. As you are seeing here, we started with paperwork. They saw straight lines. We ruled the papers. They saw straight lines, as you are seeing. See the needles. So each person has this set of work. They did the straight lines. They did zigzag. And from the zigzag, they did a spiral work. So from there, we now move on to the calico on. That's they reproduce these ones using the calico. That's two set per person. That's the first and second attempt. They also did the spiral first and second attempt as well as the zigzag. Then from there, this morning we did interlocking. That's before you start sewing, you have to lock the stitches, otherwise the thread will be removing. So we asked them to interlock at the beginning middle, and at the end. So this is one of the samples. So each person has this set that I showed you now. Then we group them into 6 groups of 5 groups of 6, I mean. So we gave them tasks. As you are seeing, they produce this blouse. Each group has a different design. So as they produce this now, in the next 1 week, they will give them material, they will replicate what they did. So as you are seeing this group 1. Okay, group 1. So they are using these 2 machines for their work. So 3 people will use this, while 3 people will use this. Because of the number of trainees, the trainees are supposed to be like 20, but because of the demand, that's why the machines are not enough. So these are group 2. They are also having 2 machines.
After the tour and interaction with some beneficiaries of the program, it was obvious the Nigerian Army is building future entrepreneurs that will in no time attain financial independence.
I came here to learn how to sew because I want to be a fashion designer.
So how far has it been so far?
Yeah, it's been going on well. Yes, sir. We've been learning. It's slow, but we're catching up. Yeah, I want to say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity because I've always wanted to do this and it came very easy for me and I'm happy.
We want to thank God for this opportunity given to us by the Chief of Army Staff and the GOC 3D Officers and Men of 3D Division. We want to thank God. This is our 3rd week and this is what we have done so far in just 2 weeks. We started with paper works, the straight line, zigzag, and spiral. Then we translated it into the fabrics. As you can see, in just 2 weeks, we have done this. And I pray and I wish that next time that you people will come, we would be able to sew even your own clothes. Yes. I'm a wife to Sergeant Abdullahi Isa, who is late now. He was serving at 1030 Div Workshop, 3D. I intend to be an entrepreneur and to train others as I'm being trained now. God's willing.
And I'm the son to late Staff Sergeant Peter Oglagudu, who served in 3D headquarters here. And by God's grace, I want to thank the Chief of Army Staff and the GOC of 3 Division. And then I want to explain some things which I've learned from this program. At first, when I came here, I thought tailoring was a very hard course to do. But by God's grace, by the help of my instructors here, we have been able to find it easy. Right before me here is the electrical machine used by fashion designers, which we are learning. By God's grace, we have learned how to thread the machine, and then we have learned how to cut some materials. And then this is our 3rd week. We started with a paper work like this. As you can see, this is the straight line on how to sew on the papers. And then this is the zigzag. And then we also have the spiral on it also. We started without using thread, and then now we're into the thread aspect of it. This is called the calico material, which I never knew before coming here, but by God's grace, I've been able to know that this is the name of the material, which is calico. And then we'll be able to learn the calico today, which is this. And then no tailor can actually sew a fabric without learning this interlock, because this is actually what seals the thread on the material. And then once more, I want to thank the Chief of Army Staff for this initiative. It has been a source of help to me. By God's grace, after this program, I'm planning to create my own business with it, and then I know that I'll have a good source of money with it.
Welcome back from that interview. We must say kudos to the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, for having given these people a lifeline to fend for themselves and also
for their families. Yeah.
Yes. We must say kudos, and we also advise that other security agencies should toe this line. What do you think should be?
In fact, that is, you've said it all, Ernest. They should borrow a leaf from this wonderful example, this initiative that is being carried out by the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai. Good examples are worth emulating, yes. So we want to ask that other security agencies should please look, take care of the deceased wife of these officers, because it is not good that after the service given to the fatherland, and then the families of these ones are left just like that. It is not a good one.
Yeah, moving on the program, we paid a trip to Lagos State Police Command, precisely the SAS Lagos State. Umar said kudos also to the IGP, talking about Mohammed Adamu, for doing a great reform to the SAS squad. Now, from what we have been told from other persons, even the suspects themselves, they commented that the SAS Lagos State is doing more than they expect. Surely you were there.
And SAS, Nigeria, in fact, SAS has always been a word most people fear. They dread that name, SAS. You know, but with the coming of the new IGP Mohammed Adamu, a lot of reforms have taken place. Now people are seeing SAS not the way they used to see them any longer, but rather they see them as people who came in with a good intention, who has the intention of the society in mind. You know, and then we had a lot of talks with people who once time we are fighting SAS, and then, you know, from what they said so far, NS, you could see that the SAS are really doing well now.
Now we must commend, especially the Lagos SAS team. We must commend them for. Now listen, criminals, they're not criminals, suspects actually. Suspects. They are suspects. They're not criminals. They are suspects, except after they have been convicted by any court of law. Now this is what the Lagos SAS is doing. And we spoke with some suspects, and they had their minds on how the SAS have treated them, and
no, you know, if you could imagine a suspect even saying that the SAS gave he's an asthmatic patient, and then they even go ahead to get him drugs to make sure he's okay. In fact, that is a wonderful news.
Let's get you those confessional statements from the suspects now.
My name is Idowu Omorodion from Edo State, but I live in Bariga in Lagos State. On the 27th of last month, we robbed one girl at Yanuru bus stop, Bariga, me and my friend Saban. So in the process of that girl shouting ole ole, so I returned the phone to the girl. So the OPC Ulos, they took us to Ifako police station. From that Ifako police station, they took us to SAS at Ikeja. So SAS at Ikeja asked us some questions. Did I have a gun to me? Which gun I used to relay people? I said I don't have guns, but I have people that have guns. They said, okay, we should go to that place, the people that have guns, and I took them to people that have guns in Bariga, in Keke Street. So they hand over all those guns, 5 guns, and 5 members of them, and the rest ran away. That's all I know, sir.
All right, how long have you been into armed robbery?
I've not been robbed. I only collect phones since now 5 times. 5 times. That's last month. Because I'm a driver, I have a job.
You have a job,
yes.
But you also collect people's phone. So what do you do with the phones?
You said the phone.
So how much have you made so far from these phones?
The phone I've collected is not up to like 10, sir. It's not up to like 10 I've collected.
How much have you sold this? How much have you made from the sale of this phone so far?
Like 30,000 naira, sir. Because it's like 5 phones.
Okay. Now, do you have any regrets so far? Now that you are under SAS office, now any regrets?
Yes, I have a regret.
What's the regret?
Because the regret that it's not good to be someone be stealing. And because I hear before that they say SAS used to kill, but now they don't used to kill. Even they buy us drugs in this place. Now they take off us. They just ask us, what is your? I'm an asthmatic patient, so my IP always give me asthma drugs in this place.
My name is Oluwade Amilara Adetunji. If you carry me reach here, I robbery case because I'm a car driver. So I drive bike, I drive machine. So some guys are in my area. I carry them before. Because as a daddy, they just come and say, "Ma, come, say no, go collect phone." And I carry them with my bike. We went to that Agbada Sasha. Collect phone. As we collect phone, the person will get the phone will collect. Start to shout, ole. And me, I tell those guys, say, if I'm going to return this girl, if I don't go bring problem, I'll return her. So, if we return her, we'll go find that person, make your own noise for less. And they refuse. So that's why, as in the process, they pursue us. I mean, they can go there see cash.
So how long you don't with guns?
They are guns, sir. Yes.
I don't understand. You be their member or now you dey drive machine? I don't understand which one you
Now
be.
they drive the machine.
So how their gun to enter your hand?
No, you don't enter my hand. Me, I drive the machine.
Okay.
So as they pursue them, they pursue them with leg. One person don't hold me on top, but they pursue them with leg. Now they cash.
Many na motorcycle they use the rob.
Yes, man, I drive motorcycle.
Now they drive them.
I drive motorcycle.
And on a get gun.
And the people, they don't see.
So how long now you don't into this business?
Let me say 2 years later. 2 years later, sir.
2 years.
Yes, sir.
So how many times you don't go rob now?
No be all. No be all.
How many times you don't follow them go?
I don't go like 2 times, sir.
That 2 times, how much you make for that 2 times?
They don't give me better money.
How much they give you?
Sometimes they give me 10,000. Sometimes 5,000.
So you know see them the armed robbers. You know see that they rob people before.
I know see them.
Okay, now where the other persons then they?
They've escaped and we don't find them and we don't see them.
Okay. So do you have any regrets now so far?
Yes.
What's the regret?
I regret playing because when I reach here, I see many things will make me and the regret I say I reach here, and the regret say I put myself inside this to carry me reach here.
It's me and my friend that we go to Faga. So when we reach here, we see that they want jail. So when we enter the house, we break their bunker and enter. So we took a phone and we carry a vehicle. So I'm not the driver, but I'm not the one that drive the car. So because I followed the guy 2 times to go and rob car. So second, this guy that bring the place is Mori, so I couldn't remember the area. So we collect a vehicle and we phone. And we sold it to someone. So the person was being arrested. We have arrested the person.
So how were you caught?
I was caught by the arrest my second, so it's down that come and take me where I'm staying.
Okay, how long have you been doing this kind of business?
I joined the guy this year because I'm a footballer, so I used to play ball. Yeah, it's one get together and we used to see each other.
Okay, now since you joined the business, how much have you made from it? How much you don't make so far?
I don't make any money. The money that they gave me, so I used to buy little things, so I don't keep any money.
For each time you go for operation, what do you use for your operation?
We use one plastic pipe. So we used to tap pipe water. So the tap, that's what we used to use. We used to have it black.
To the black.
Yes.
So which now you don't use gun at all? You don't use gun. So who keeps your gun?
I don't have gun. We use that black sellotape with pipe.
Sir, when I came out, I know because I came out alone. It was me and one of my friends, Egufi. But that Egufi is late now. So later I knew one Tajo Olopa, some boys. Tajo Olopa with Shegun Bansa. Bansa is here also. One Tajo Olopa and Shegun Bansa with one guy, they call him Shirley. I met him there. And one Hussein Freshman. One guy they do call him Hussein Freshman. One guy they do call him Hussein Freshman. So those are the guys that are getting.
Apart from all this robbery operation you mentioned, you have an Okada, a motorcycle.
Yes.
Did you buy the motorcycle?
No, I did not buy it. You collected it from someone.
You not collect, you robbed it.
You robbed it from someone.
And how many Okada have you and your gang went out to rob?
No, me, it was only that one that I collected with them. And it was the one I'm using.
Tell us the gun you have in your...
I'm only using one local made. I'm only using one local made.
Which one does Shirley have?
Surely, I heard he was using AK.
You heard or you seen AK-47 with him?
Yeah, I've seen it with him. I've seen it with him.
Where did he tell you got the AK-47?
No, I did not ask him anything about it. He did not tell me anything about it also.
So how
surely we are not together over 4 months, but he's always fulfilling purpose.
Even the day you took him out, where some politicians or road people invited you, did you not went to the place with the AK-47?
Yeah, he came with it. I was there when I called him that I was at the state office that the fire is about to happen. So he came there.
With what?
With the AK. Well, he left me there also.
So how do you choose your victim? The victims you rob, how do you select them?
At times I might be at Alaba, so you just tell me that there's someone. I might be in Alaba, so you just tell me that there's someone shop at somewhere that we should go there together. Or at times you just tell me that someone called them that they should come somewhere. So that's how we do.
So all through you've been doing how many people have you killed so far? In all your escapades of robbery?
So in terms of robbery, I don't kill. Even the place that I took them to, where I've been robbing, that I took them to, they have never complained of shooting them or anything.
So what do you not do with the gun?
Sir?
What do you do with the gun?
Just to threat them, to collect what they have. And it was just because when I came out, all those IAs, the other party, they came to bust me at my home. They shot me on my hand and they cut me an axe on my head. Yeah. So, and they even cut they even shoot me dagger. They even think I'm late. So they now left me, but I pretend as if I'm dead. So they left me, they ran away. So that was why I took back this challenge. Yeah.
Now, how come you were caught, you were sent to prison, you came out of prison and you still went back to crime? Is it that you cannot do something else with your life?
No, not that I cannot do something else with my life. Because on that day, when I was at Alaba, I've not gotten any job as a union then. And I'm the only son of my mom. And my dad has lived almost 20 years ago. So, and then my mom has a spiritual attack. So, and I'm having financial problem. So, and there is nobody to help. So then I do go to Alaba to sell Igbo. So when I meet those guys, because when those guys could go to work, when I come back, they just give me 1,500. And my mom to stay at Okafor there. So the hospital that I took I first of all took her to a church. At the church that I took her to at my boy, they were requesting for money. They asked me to bring 30,000. It was that day that I started going out with those guys. And the day I went out with those guys, the first day I went out with those guys, I collected 14,000 and I gave them 10,000 at the church. So later when the sickness was much, finally I lost my mom at the hospital I took her to. So that was why I was involved in those things. And later when I got a job, I left those guys, and that was what caused our issue. Because I left them before I was caught in my home. They came to arrest me at my house.
As at the time you left them, where was your gun?
It was in Alaba.
You kept it with who?
With one of those boys. They call him a boy.
What is the function of a boy?
A boy is among the squad there.
They used to keep going for you.
Yes.
Yes. You claim you have left the
I've left them because I've gotten a job. And even I don't keep Amorim in my house. It was Alaba. And I was going to stay at Alaba. That was why I left the gun with him there. And even the bike that I do use, I left it at Alaba.
Now, as a second offender, as far as the law is concerned, do you have any regrets now? Any regrets so far?
Yes.
What are the regrets?
I ever regret I still involved in robbery. Despite the way those guys came to bust me. So far I was not late, but The issue is that because assuming my mom is strong, I won't have the mind of going back to the crime. But I really regret of being going back to the cultism, and I really regret of killing of human being. And I really regret of being involved in robbing issue. I really regret. Even my first case, I was not caught in robbery issue. It was a fight that happened at Alaba International. So when we were fighting, some bags, some people that left their bags that ran. So I collected, I saw the bag on the floor, so I collected it. So when Sujana came in, Sujana asked every one of us to stop. So when we stopped, they now asked who owns the bag. I explained to them that it was the people that was pushing that owns the bag. So they took us to station. After station, they took us to court for court. That was how it is. And I only had my mom, and my mom did not have more power to bail me. That was how it is. So I really regret of being involved in robbery issue and being involved in cultism.
Welcome back from that confessional statement. You could hear from the horse's mouth, the suspects themselves, saying that SARS is not the way it used to be. You know, it's no longer the dreadful name that people used to hear. I want to say a big thank you to the OC of SARS in the person of Peter Ghana for doing a wonderful job, for making sure that his men are put in check, making sure that they don't go out of the way, you know, just to make sure that, you know the story, Ernest, you know the story before now.
At this point, we must commend the Lagos State SARS, and we want to also say that all commands of the Federation should emulate the Lagos State SARS to ensure that they keep criminals out of society, but still treat them as human beings.
Exactly.
Now, moving on the program. Now, the youth of Nigeria are actually doing a lot. Now, what to get you a report from the Pan-African Student Movement. Now, these young persons have identified what a group, Security Watch Africa Initiative, is doing to contribute to the security of Nigeria. They paid us a visit, and we're actually given an award. We're actually given an award for our contribution to the security awareness in Nigeria. Now, we must also comment that because we appreciated this group of persons having put themselves together to look at the security of Nigeria, even as young persons.
Exactly.
It's actually commendable, surely.
Yes, they made us understand that the youths are also part of this country, and then that they have a lot to do to make sure that this country move forward, both security-wise and otherwise, you know. And in fact, it is a good one. You know, I don't even believe that youth at their age could just think of something like this. This actually shows that Nigerian youth are not lazy, that they are actually thinking ahead, and they have the interest of the country at heart.
Now let's get you the presentation of the award to Security Watch Africa Initiative. And like we said earlier, we must also commend these young persons, the Pan-African Student Movement, for recognizing the efforts Security Watch Africa has been putting into informing and educating the people on security issues. Let's get you that meeting now.
With you here today are the delegates of the Pan-African Student Movement, which is a body of students that cut across African nations, saddled with the responsibility of training, building, and celebrating good leadership. We actually engage ourselves in various activities. We campaign against all social vices and our own campuses. We campaign against religious intolerance. We campaign against a lot of vices that happen to us, especially in the youth, and we campaign against drug abuse. We campaign against campus petitions, autism, and so on. And we also organize seminars, workshops, in a way to actually better ourselves, because we believe we had leaders of today and not of tomorrow. We believe the stage is ours now, and if we don't do something to get it right now, then the future will surely be in jeopardy for us. That is why we have put ourselves together to see how we can better ourselves and talk to some of our other youth members who are actually not up to our standard, to let them know the reason why we have to stand up to face this time of building ourselves so that we can thereby build our nation at large. As we carry out our activities, we seek to find ourselves role models too, which is very, very important. It's one thing for us as youth to want to walk through a way, and it's another thing for us to see people who are actually worthy of emulation, people who can actually hold on to take us through that path. And that is one of the reasons why we are here today. Number one is to salute you for the great work you have been doing. Number two is to have a kind of working relationship with you, to let you know more about what we are doing, to have a kind of way where we can collaborate together, and to appreciate the good work which you have been doing.
It is said easy to sit up and take notice. What is difficult is standing up and taking notice. Today we are celebrating the fact that someone stood up and took that action. Today we are celebrating enthusiasm, commitment, and shared hard work. Enthusiasm is often neglected as a force, yet without it, there will be few achievements. Enthusiasm sets fire to the imagination. It asks, what if I did, and if I did not? And the result depends on the answers to the question. Today we are honoring those who asked this question and committed themselves to finding the answer. We are honoring those who work late into evening and early in the morning. I want to welcome every one of us to this very important epoch-making ceremony of conferring honor on a man of substance, an intellectual juggernaut, a man with magnificent experience. I'm talking about the remarkable, palatable, incorruptible, delectable, reliable Mr. Patrick Abambu. A patriotic Nigerian, benevolent personality, and a true federalist. The Pan-African Student Movement is a democratic student platform that does not discriminate on the basis of religion, gender, ethnic, or sectional sentiment, but with the core aim of contributing to topical national issues by objective analysis, engaging in capacity building activities for members via exchange program, campaign against drug abuse, campus militancy, otherwise known as cultism, examination malpractices, campus prostitution, and other forms of vices affecting the youth today. We also honor individual and corporate bodies who have in one way or the other contributed to the national development. So one can say that it is in line with the stated objective that we have actually come here today. We honor a man who has distinguished himself in the area of effective service delivery, especially as it affects national development and positive contribution to humanity. The Pan-African Student Movement has constituted itself an instrument of national and international integration, even as we pay rapt attention and show keen interest in the process of the development of our dear countries and continent. Distinguished Mr. Patrick Abambu, other dignitaries here present, ladies and gentlemen, the remarkable impact and input recorded owing to the commitment of our amiable recipient in his capacity as the President CEO of this outstanding institution are outstanding as they are remarkable. He has also contributed in the area of key area of improving standard in training practice, adding value to Security Watch Africa initiative, youth empowerment, astute patriotism, true federalism, national development, and integration, especially in the area of helping improve the security sector of our dear nation and continent. And beyond this, quite unprecedented, just as it is evident. It is for this very reason that the Pan-African Student Movement takes out its time to scrutinize these emerging qualities of leadership in reputable personalities, statesmen, and public office holders in Africa. Philosophers have interpreted the world is left for us to change it. The society can be moved to greater height and higher ideals only by the number and strength of dreamers, thinkers, and doers available to it. Giving expression to this dream requires continuous dose of patriotism, selflessness, incorruptibility, determination, and courage to trudge on against all odds, has been exemplified by Mr. Patrick Abambu. Sir, you would agree with me that where there is no sweet dream, there is bound to be nightmare. Where there is no altitude, there can be no latitude. Where there is no progression, there will be depression. And where there is no vision, the people will surely perish. Permit me to say at this juncture a big congratulations to you and your team, and other accolades. You are indeed a visionary leader, a selfless, charismatic person, and above all, an epitome of development worthy of emulation.
And you've done your duty, and you are doing your best to see how you can contribute immensely to your immediate society. We pray that God Almighty will continue to strengthen you and give you the grace to do more of what you know how to do next. Without much ado, I'll be calling on Francisca and Kobe to come with a medal of honor. You are a father, and we cannot actually ask you to be on your feet, but we implore you to do so. So without much ado,
we Soweto, we Africans,
we Soweto.
I want the United States Medal, Mr. Patrick Abambu.
Before we give you this gift,
Je veux tant qu'il verra cette médaille, que ça lui donne encore le courage et la force de continuer dans le travail qu'il a commencé.
Anytime you see this medal, you can hang it in your neck, in your house, in your car. Anytime you see this, you can follow it.
Parce que nous sommes le président d'Afrique. Le président noir d'Afrique du Sud a dit qui dans les cœurs et dans tout le monde.
Because the late Nelson Mandela said, carve your name on heart, not on hands. And we really carve your name in our hearts.
Et je lui remets cette médaille en tant que champion, car ce sont les champions qui ont fait.
And we give you this medal like a champion because we treat you like our champion.
Thank you very much.
Soweto,
We African.
we Africans.
Soweto.
It was the great Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka that said, "It's only one man has found his path that he can be regarded as a pathfinder." Sir, you have indeed found your path and you have helped others find their path. And I make bold to say at this defining moment that you are indeed a pathfinder. A round of applause for you. Sir, we are here today basically for two reasons: to thank you for the things you have done, and to also encourage you to continue to do more, because the reward for hard work is more work. So against this background, I want to present to you the Pan-African Student Movement Pan-African Exemplary Leadership Award presented to Mr. Patrick Abangu, the President CEO Security Watch Africa Initiative, as African patriotic personality in recognition and appreciation of a dedicated and selfless contribution towards nation building, human capital development, societal advancement, organizational excellence, and also your sterling leadership, administrative prudence, top-notch security delivery, intellectual dispensation, professional contribution, incessant benevolent strides, outstanding service to God, Almighty, humanity, and country. Congratulations.
Really must welcome you all and thank you for your presence here. I'm short of words. I'm short of words not because of the award, but I'm short of words because of the initiatives you people have taken. I'm really very much impressed because when you see a group of persons that have decided to change the society and change the community, then it's only very few, and you have to encourage them. First, I must say that I'm very, very happy. There are a lot of things that we need to talk. I'm happy that you are here now today. There are a lot of things that we need to look into for the future tomorrow. First, like you know, you talked about us bringing the national anthem, and I said no. Let's jump it because I feel personally that for Nigeria, for instance, since we're in Nigeria, if there's anything going to be the national anthem, it should be the second stanza of that. I don't know if we all have it. I want us to recite that second stanza if we have it with you there. Please open it. It's here in the pamphlet for those who have it. Those who don't have it will have to. Because that, to me, is the ideal prayer, an ideal comment for us as Nigerians and for us as Africans. You know, it states here, "O God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and truth, great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign." There's nothing more than that, and that is really the problem Nigeria is facing, Africa is facing today. If God directs our leaders right, and the youth will know the truth and do the truth, then greater heights will be attained. And honesty will be the watchword. Then there will be peace in our land. Really, that is it all. And sincerely speaking, I must encourage and thank you for what you're doing. I told my team that this award is not for me. This award is for Security Watch Africa, not for me as a person. Because me as a person, I'm the least in the team. I'm the least in the team. Yes, they call me chief executive, they call me president, they call me everything. But I believe that without the team, there's no success. I can't make it on my own. So I'm a team player always. Yes, I'm maybe the one in front, because of course a leader must be in front. You can't send people and be at the back. Most times they go on assignment, I volunteer to go. Not that I cannot ask them to go and be at the comfort of my but because the leader must always be at the front. And that is why how you know what the true situation is. The biggest challenge we face as individuals, as a country Nigeria, as a continent Africa, is security. Like I tell people always, security is the paramount thing. Without security, there can't be life. Without security, there can't be development. Without security, you can't even plan for tomorrow. So, first and foremost, is for you to be secure. Then, before you cannot think of where to put your head, what to eat, and plan of development for tomorrow. And unfortunately, we do not understand how to follow security, and that is why, by the grace of God, in 1996, the idea of security, getting it to the people, came to me by the grace of God. And the vehicle, I was quite younger than some of you here, and the vehicle in which to do that, well, I found out was going to be a television. Incidentally, Nigeria was going through military rule, where issues of security was not to be discussed in the public. So it was a Herculean task. It was a difficult task to be able to talk issues of security, because the government may not understand your motive, and then that was it. I remembered I had to approach NTA, the Nigerian Television Authority, which was the only vibrant television station then, but they turned it down because they believed that government may not like it and government would penalize them. But God did it. A private TV channel started up, AIT, African Independent Television, and I approached them, and the man accepted it. That is why, to me, like you talk about mentors, you talk about looking up to people. I look up to him because he had the courage, he had the strength and the zeal to do what others dreaded. And I looked up to him because we need to be able to do it. He accepted this, and we started it. Yes. After the first edition, I was arrested by the government then because they didn't understand what was all about. They wanted to know. If it's today, it will have been all over social media, arrest and all detained and all the illegal detention and all that. But I rather saw it as a way of trying to understand the government mind and then to understand what we're all about. So for 4 days, I was taken from Lagos to Abuja, and it drilled and interrogated. And after that, the government said, okay, yes, we'll allow you to go ahead, but we need to monitor what you're doing. And I had to accept. I had to undergo a lot of trainings to be able to understand properly what this issue of security is all about. And to be able to understand that the most important thing is national security. Like I tell people, national security of any country supersedes even your own personal security. Yes, own human rights. You see, sometimes people quick to say, I have a human right. Yes, your human right is important, but the national security of that country supersedes yours. People have talked so much about the detention of Dasuki, the detention of Ezezaki. Some people have said they're infringing on their rights. Some people have said a court has given judgment for them to be bailed and to be released. But in fairness, the national security overrides whatever the court says. Because if it's understood that your freedom will jeopardize national security, you can be kept and be kept because your own right cannot supersede the whole generality. And so that is it. So we must always get this right. When people go on, say they are human rights activists, they are lawyers, they are also whatever they are, and they talk about this issue, we should also know that national security is very, very paramount. Because if the nation goes up in flames, everybody is running helter-skelter. You have no place to go to. And so I'm happy that you are all younger generation, and because we need to be able to look at the issues that affect us as a continent. By the grace of God, we have 54 countries in Africa. By the grace of God, I have been to 49 countries in Africa. I have been over and over again. Reasons why I have to go, because I want to be able to know how my African brothers, how did they live, and I find out that all our problems are all interrelated. All our problems are all the same. I always say that the solution to African problem lies in Africa and not in anywhere else. We have, as a continent, we have no need to seek help from anybody outside the continent. In terms of human capital, we have it here. In terms of natural capital, we have it here. Everything we need as Africa for develop our continent, we have it here. But we have not harnessing them. We are looking at ourselves as inferiors, and that is the major problem. And that is why in Security Watch Africa, we decided that we must preach this gospel of security everywhere for us to understand all over Africa how it's important for us to be security conscious, and that is the goal we have been carrying on. I'm happy to talk of countries, Botswana, Rwanda, and Uganda, and also. Yeah, these are very, Rwanda, Botswana, these are very good countries. These are countries that have decided to move away from the ways and norms. But I want to also look at it, that for those countries to achieve that level of development, there's need for a little bit of autocracy in government for African solution. You see, when I talk about this, we must understand it, that when you talk about democracy that we practice today, you understand, it has not done so much of good to us as Africans, because we are learning the rope. We are trying to understand the situation. If you have a leader who has a good idea of what to do, and because you feel other people feel they can do better, and there's a lot of struggle for power to do all those things, it disconnects everything. All we need to do is to support our leaders who have genuine mind to develop our country so that we can develop. The president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, is doing so well because people support him. People support him wholeheartedly, and he's doing so well. In Botswana, I've been to Botswana, the leadership, nobody even talk about their leadership because nobody cares, because everything is working. And so they are working, everything is working. So I believe that there's a lot Africans can learn from each other to be able to evolve to that Africa that we desire. Thank you for mentioning the issue of what that is happening in South Africa currently. You know, but I have a little different from what the generality of people are talking about it. Yes, Africans rallied around, led by Nigeria, to save South Africa from the jaws of apartheid and make them to give the black their country back. Now, Africans now believe that this is a country they can also call home. Your slogan, you move to Soweto. Yeah, Africa is in Soweto, is in South Africa. You understand? But we must understand that I cannot go to your home because you call me friend, because I helped you one way or the other, and I go to your home and commit crime and accept you and expect you to accept me wholeheartedly. If I must come to your home, I must abide by your rules. We Africans must learn how to be good guests to our hosts. We must not go to any country. We see people go to, today Ghana also is crying about, talking not particularly about Nigerians now, because some few Nigerians commit crime there. And the laws of Ghana is there very explicit. The laws of commerce, the laws of trade, the laws of immigration. You don't go there and break these laws and expect them to also clap for you and say sit down. You don't go to South Africa and go on the streets of South Africa and selling drugs, committing internet frauds, committing kidnapping, having cultism, and expect the South Africans to also receive you and be happy with you. Yes, the method or their mode, the mode of response may not be right, because there's no justification for any killing of anybody. But it's a way of telling the people, look, enough is enough. I believe that Nigerian government and Nigerians should look inward and find out why is it that when their people go out, they go in to commit crimes.
Welcome back from that report. We want to say that youth, Nigerian youth in Africa generally, should also look for something positive to do to keep themselves busy. And always remember that without us being together as one, that it is going to be difficult to move ahead. Security is important. It's not just one person's business. Yes. It is not just meant for the elderly or the security agencies. It is meant for everyone as long as we call ourselves Nigeria.
Now, we must say once again a big kudos to the Pan-African Youth Movement, the Pan-African Student Movement, for doing this great feat, recognizing Security Watch Africa initiative. But we must also say that other youths should emulate this and make themselves meaningful, contribute their own quota to nation building, especially to the security of Nigeria and Africa in general. Now, moving on the program, we did meet a very special personality.
A legend.
A legend. He goes by the name Rugged Man. Surely you were there.
Yes. We had an interview with him, and you know, he is one person that through his music has tried to promote peace in the society, in the country. And he also, NS, most of this youth, most of the crime committed today are what people listen to. Yes. I could recall a youth saying that that was arrested some time ago, saying that he was moved to going into cybercrime, all because of a musician promoting cybercrime, trying to paint cybercrime as something good and meaningful that a youth can engage in making money. Now, I want to say that crime going into cybercrime or any form of illegal means of making money has never been a good way out. And Rugged Man has this to say.
Now, we spoke to him and he told us his impact, what he has been doing over the years to encourage youth, to encourage people to live a life that is worth emulating. Let's get you that interview we had with him now.
Well, I guess the fact that I don't glorify the vices that some other artists glorify, maybe that's part of the reason why I've been in this industry as long as I have been, and that's one of the reasons why I still stay as relevant as I stay. That's one of the reasons why I can talk to politicians, I can talk to officers, and they listen to me because they know I'm not supporting anything illegal in any way. And then it's not me. It's not how I was brought up. I'm not selfish, I'm not greedy. I'm not into anything illegal, except maybe taking too much sweets, but because I have a terrible sweet tooth. So, and when I came into the industry, where we had serious morals, where we knew we had to take responsibility for what we do, what we say, and how we say it, and where we know that people are actually looking up to us. That's the era I grew up in. And I grew up in the era of deep music, conscious music. I grew up in the era where you could use music to actually change things. And that's why when I did my first song, Ahead, it changed the Nigerian music industry. And when I did Ragedi Baba, which I used to tell Nigerians that in fact Africa, that you need to put your mother tongue in your music, especially Nigerians. And then since I said it, 2006 till today, that's what every hit song that's come out of Nigeria has been a song with one of our languages. So I can't be wrong. And then maybe because I'm also now, well, it's not about age really, because I've been like this from when I was young till now. And one of the things I say the most is the fact that it's one of my flaws. Though it's not a flaw, but I just say it's one of my flaws, is the fact that I actually care a lot. I care. I care about the country, I care about the people, I care about the next man, I care about the next young musician. I just care, really. If I see a situation where I can help, I do it. Right now, I call them cases now. Right now, I joke with my friends that I say I'm practically a Nigerian police customer care service with the amount of calls and messages I get on issues. And I do my best to help with the likes of DSP Peter Ghana and the PRO for Lagos and the first PRO Abuja. You know, I work with these officers and I just try to do good, basically, because I believe in leaving a good legacy. I don't want to be remembered as the guy as the person who glorified fraud or glorified one bad thing or the other. I want to be remembered, even if some people don't like me for it. I want to be remembered for someone who stood by good, who stood by the rights, who stood by Nigeria being great again.
Welcome back from that interview. We must say thank you, Rugged Man, for doing your part. And we also encourage other people to live a life worthy of emulation. We must ensure, we must also always know that people are looking at us. In what you do, whatever you say, be whoever you are, especially those who are celebrities. Your lifestyle should be that should encourage, especially the young ones. We must say a big kudos to Rugged Man. Now, this is how far we can go on the program. We must leave for other programs to continue. But before we go, we always say that security is not just meant for the security agencies alone. Everybody must be security conscious. I remain yours and only, Ernest Enuneku.
And remember, when you see something, say something. And I still remain Shuli Daniels. Bye for now.